This guitar divides the internet. Half of the players love it and the other half hates it. So I had to find out which side I'm actually on. If you've ever had to drag both an acoustic and an electric to a gig, Fender Acoustasonic series says you don't have to anymore. But is it that simple? Now, I'll be honest, when Fender launched the Acoustasonic series, I was a bit skeptical. I didn't really get the hype, I thought the concept was weird and actually hated the whole design. But thanks to Guitar Story Boutique for lending me this one, because after playing it for a while, I actually think it's kinda cool. It's one of those guitars that just make more sense once they're in your hands. So this is the Fender Acoustasonic Telecaster Player in Arctic White color, made in Mexico. And today we're going to see what it's all about, what it does well, what it doesn't, and if it's worth giving a shot. And before diving into this specific model, let's talk about the Acoustasonic series as a whole. So the whole Acoustasonic thing goes way back further than most people think. Fender first tried this idea in the early 2000s with a Stratocaster Acoustasonic, which barely anyone remembers now. It looked super weird and didn't take off. Then there was an Acoustasonic Telecaster around 2010, and it was practically a kind of a prototype for what we have today. And finally, in 2019, Fender brought this idea in a big way with the American Acoustasonic Telecaster, and since then they've expanded the lineup with a Stratocaster and Jazzmaster. There are even different tiers now, so the American series, the Player series produced at the Mexican plant, and a more affordable standard series produced at the Indonesian factory. So structurally, it's a hollow body with a sound hole, so it's got some acoustic resonance, and actually it's nicer to play unplugged than I expected. It's definitely not as loud as a full-body Dreadnought, but definitely way more louder than an electric. You can totally noodle on it without an amp, and I think it sounds pretty decent for songwriting or some evening practice. Once you plug it in though, it really shows what it can do. You've got a Fishman acoustic system working together with a Fender magnetic pickup, and this combination gives you some tonal range. The magic is in the three-way selector switch and the blend knob. Each position on the three-way switch gives you two different voices, and the blend knob allows you to move between them. So instead of just switching presets, you can find all the sweet spots in between. You have three pairs. The first is Mahogany small body short scale with Rosewood Dreadnought. Second is Lo-Fi Clean, more acoustic, and Lo-Fi Crunch, more electric. And the third is Noiseless Tele Pickup, cleaner and dirtier. The acoustic tones on this thing are surprisingly good. I was surprised how you really can hear a difference between a Dreadnought and a smaller body acoustic, like you were actually playing two different guitars. But of course, it won't replace a full-size Dreadnought if you need that full acoustic sound. But definitely it's more than usable. The electric tones are classic Fender, clean, punchy, and very Telecaster-like. The downside, at least for me, is the lack of the dedicated tone knob for the magnetic pickup. Alright, enough talking about tones, now let's hear what it actually can do. I'll start unplugged so you can kinda get the idea of how it sounds acoustically, and then I'll plug it in straight into my interface so you can hear the pickups in action. Now let's run through the specs real quick because Fender really put a lot of thought into how this guitar feels and looks. The body is all mahogany, back, sides and neck with a solid Sitka spruce top. It's got that modified Telecaster shape, so it looks familiar but has softer curves and a slightly thinner profile. The finish is smooth polyester satin matte, and this one in Arctic White looks super clean and modern. The neck is a modern deep C-shaped satin finished mahogany with a rosewood fingerboard, 22 frets and a 12-inch radius, so it feels more like an electric than an acoustic. Scale length is 25.5 inches, so standard Fender territory. Controls are simple, just a master volume, a blend knob and a 3-way switch. Under the hood you get a Fishman under-saddle piezo pickup and a Fender's N4 magnetic pickup, which is what gives you all that acoustic to electric versatility. It's got an acoustic style bridge and wooden knobs which give you a very cool look, and chrome tuners on a Telecaster style headstock. Overall, the build is very solid. There are quality materials used here and it feels very good in hands. If you're mainly an electric player, you'll feel right at home here. The body is thin, the neck profile feels familiar, and compared to a standard acoustic, it's way easier to handle for long sessions or gigs. So who's this thing for? I think it's perfect for songwriters, gigging musicians, or just simply anyone who wants some versatility without having to have multiple guitars. It's also great for home players who want to quickly record something without having to mic up the acoustic every time. But if you're a heavy tone chaser who likes to shape every frequency or relies on thick distortion tones, it might not be your main guitar. But as a creative tool or a stage companion, it's kinda cool. And honestly, I get now why the Acoustasonic series divides people so much. It's not a traditional acoustic, it's not a traditional electric, it's its own thing. But if you approach it as a creative instrument, a creative tool, instead of a replacement for either, it opens up a lot of possibilities. It's not going to replace your main Strat or a Martin. It's not going to replace your main Strat or Martin, and that's just not the point. The point is to have both worlds close enough in just one guitar. So that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, ring the bell to be notified when I post new videos, and of course like this video if you've enjoyed it. Also follow me on Instagram for some more guitar content. See you next time. Bye!